Welcome back to the Talkin' Pop podcast. Little 2-week break.
Yes.
Everybody's rested, everybody's rejuvenated, and everyone is ready to talk about episode 1 of Moon Knight.
Let's go.
Let's just start off with your initial thoughts. I quite liked this.
I fully enjoyed it.
Yes.
I fully enjoyed it.
My expectations for the show have been pretty high. And you know, like I've been pretty vocal on our show about how, like, you know, the Marvel shows have been hit and miss for me for the most part. Like,
me too. I think most people are saying that.
Yeah, like I really liked Loki, and I liked Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, excuse me. And like WandaVision was okay, and I did not care for Hawkeye. And so,
yeah,
like
they did Kingpin dirty. They did Kingpin dirty. Like,
and like the trailers for this have been amazing, and all the hype and about how this, you know, this is going to be more adult and whatever. Like, so going into this, my expectations were pretty high, and this was a great first episode. Like when it ended, I was like it's always, you always know it's a good episode when it ends, and you're like,
oh yeah, you're like, damn it.
Yeah,
I know. You know what? There's a lot of people complaining right now because of this not new, kind of newer, I guess, in the realm of how a lot of television is released now, which is in one giant chunk, unless it's HBO or Disney Plus. Apparently, they're like pretty much the last two OG kind of TV system of just releasing it week to week. And a lot of people are kind of complaining about this, but I completely disagree with it. I actually think I've missed it. I would obviously always prefer, because when you're enjoying something, you want to be able to just go click and like, yes, let's watch the next one. Or like some of these things where it just starts for you, and then you're up till 3 a.m. and you don't even realize. But the thing for me with this is I like the fact that I was like, like you said, like I'm like, oh yes. Like I wanted to watch the next one and I wasn't able to. And I love the fact that is kind of almost a dead art, where the art of discussion between episodes is going on.
Yes.
I miss that.
Yes.
The OG, the real OG of that was Lost. Mm-hmm. When Lost came out, it was like, you know, every week, you know, from Thursday to Thursday, I guess it was, everybody would be, you know, chatting and like talking about like what's going to happen next and blah, blah. And I like that that's going on, especially with shows like this, where it's a superhero. Like we've discussed that, you know, we're not experts on the character. We're not experts on like the, you know, all the little nuances of what's going to necessarily happen that maybe other people are privy to. So I like that I'm kind of going like, wait, whoa, what the hell was that? What was that? Yeah. And so I like that we're going to be able to have these discussions week to week about this show. I think it's going to lend itself so nicely, especially selfishly, to this podcast.
Yeah, 100%. We're always looking for new content. So we meet Stephen Grant, the ultra nerdy Stephen Grant, in this episode, and we learn that he has his dissociative identity disorder. Say that 10 times.
Yeah.
And
don't ask me to say it at all.
He sort of like morphs in and out between, like when he goes to sleep, the alter ego of Mark Spector takes over, who is seemingly working with or controlled by Khonshu, the moon god. Yes. And we don't know all those details yet, but like, you know that's what's happening.
Roughly. And you know what? It was, there was a couple of things that happened early in the show that I loved, but then I did like a bit of and I can tell you why I did was because there was a voice in his head. And what's the last time we experienced a voice in the head of a superhero character was Venom. And Venom's voice in his head and an actual discussion happening. That was what they went with Venom, except not executed the best. I would have to say, and that's just I think general dialogue issue. Whereas with this, I did kind of do like when I was kind of getting that little bantery, I was like, oh no, but I was just like, well, no, this is just PTSD from Venom. Yes. And this is I actually thought this was executed.
It
really
did
well.
Sound venomish too. Like Khonshu's voice is very like deep and like bassy.
Deep and calling him like an idiot and things like that. I was like, oh no. I was really concerned.
It's interesting how like he and Mark are having a conversation.
Yes.
But you can't hear Mark. And he's like, oh no, the idiot's back.
Yeah. Like, but I don't know. It just worked better in this. And I think it was because it was played more.
It's not hard to work better than Venom.
No, but I just mean from a perspective of like, but that in and of itself kind of tells you, I mean, Oscar Isaac is an excellent actor. Tom Hardy is an excellent actor. So what happened? So it's clearly just direction and quite honestly, writing and and just general dialogue and how they wanted to,
as well.
Execution. So I think with this, it was actually being done on a more like subtle scale. And I fully believe that he was like freaked out. Like he was highly disturbed by what was going on.
Oscar Isaac's range in one episode is fantastic. Like he goes from being like ultra, like almost cringy dork levels.
Yeah.
With Stephen Grant to like right at the very end, we see him as Mark Spector in the mirror being like, let me take control. So Mark Spector is the Moon Knight.
Yes. But I absolutely loved the fact that, because we've actually brought it up on this podcast, not in the same context, but just kind of a general discussion about the accent that Oscar Isaac chose for this role. And it was just a very interesting sound to it. And I wasn't under any sort of assumption that he was going to be doing like his American accent and British accent in this show. And there was actually going to be a split there. And they even called it or brought a light to it earlier in the episode as well, where he's on the phone with, I don't remember what the name was on the phone. It was a woman's name.
Layla.
Layla calls him and says, "What's up with the accent?" Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like already like, whoa, what? And so
Why did you just call me Mark?
Why did you just call me Mark? I also loved the fact that we were just dropped into the situation.
Yes.
Where he is just aware of this insomnia /
dissociative identity disorder.
Well, but I don't think he knows he has it at that point.
Well,
because really it's more about like he's like sleepwalking and he'll just wake up somewhere. So he's got like all these, not booby traps, but more like I guess
tape on the door, sand around the bed.
Yeah, to at least allow him to know that, you know, oh my God, I went for another walk tonight, or like I did something. Like I love that we just kind of were like, wait, he like already knows something is wrong. The thing is he doesn't even know why.
Yes.
He just knows that it's like some sort of medical condition that he has, but you're just kind of dropped into it and it's just unfolding in front of you and him kind of coming to this realization. Like it's pretty snappy. And I liked that. I liked that there wasn't, because I was quite honestly, a lot of times with shows like this, especially when it's the first episode of a new show, there's sometimes this, you know, what's the word? I guess more like reluctancy with some people because there has to be so much setup.
Yes.
And there's always that stigma of conversation of like, oh, you just got to get through the first like 6 episodes and then you're going to like it. And it's like, well, people don't always want to do that. Yeah. And so I actually liked the fact that it was kind of like, no, this is happening. Well, this is happening right now.
2 things on that. 1, this is only a 6-episode series, so they do kind of got to get going. 2, I think Marvel has earned enough cachet with the audience, obviously, that like, like we're going to learn how Mark Spector became Stephen Grant and how they got involved with Khonshu, the moon god. And like, we're going to learn all that, but we don't need like, you can still be giving that backstory right up until like episode 5. Like you can do it through flashbacks. You can do it like, right. So it's like, you can progress I think that's what they're going to do in that manner. Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked the, honestly, one of the things I was very like, when it happened in the show was when his jaw was dislocated. Yeah. Oh my God. I wasn't prepared for that at all. I actually thought
pops it back in on himself.
And it like crunches back into itself. And I was like, oh my God. And then even just the fact that there was blood at all. Was just like, whether it was on his hands or his face or whatever, it was just kind of like, wow, Disney is actually doing this. Wow, good for them. Not necessarily.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say on that. Okay,
they're towing the line.
Yeah, granted, it's one episode, so let's not jump the gun here. But we talked a lot. You, Kelly, and I talked a lot about like Daredevil and Punisher, and like, is it going to be that level of violence? And based on this episode, I don't think so. Like, I think
no, but I always kind of thought that was going to be the way that they were going to find at least a way to navigate both, to still have your light Marvel moments like you get in all of the incarnations for the most part, at least the more recent ones. But not trying to shy away from some of the more violent aspects of it. So I think where we had an issue with Hawkeye, because Kingpin is such like a significant character and is a very violent character. And then on top of it, the fact that you brought back cast members and what have you, the fact that it seemed to be such a drop off as far as what he was in Hawkeye versus what he was in Daredevil.
Right.
I would be much more comfortable knowing that this level of, scary / violent / let's call it PG-13, I guess, if that, it would be brought into these other characters as well. Whereas Hawkeye, I think they were maybe still kind of like, I don't know if we should. And now they're kind of going, we can do this. Right. We can do this. So I'm okay with it. Yeah. I'm okay with this level. I like the fact that I like the darker versions on Netflix, but I'm okay with this level. I think this is a fair
Disney Plus now, Brad. Disney Plus shows now.
Disney Plus shows. Yes, you're right. Yeah, you can
Plus
actually
shows now.
I was not aware that was going to happen. I didn't know that they were going to actually get the rights fully to what Netflix did and then be able to. I just thought they were getting the characters back.
Yeah, they own that now. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked here. Let's get back to Moon Knight. So, I'm intrigued to learn more about the Mark Spector becoming Stephen Grant, and clearly they're manipulating Stephen. Like they've chosen to create this alter ego as a person. Like you get that sense with Gus the fish. Like clearly something happened to Gus the fish, and then Mark Spector went and replaced him because Gus the fish had one fin and now he has two.
Now he has two fins. I like that they referenced Finding Nemo. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yes. that Nemo movie. So we would be remiss, obviously, if we didn't talk about Ethan Hawke's Arthur Harrow. So they are leaning heavily into Egyptian lore here with this one, which I am down with. I think that is awesome.
Did you not, like at the end of the episode, did you not want to go to a museum? Because I did.
Yes.
Like I actually did. I was like, this is great.
So Grant is someone Arthur Harrow, Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur Harrow, is somebody who sort of worships the goddess Ammit.
Yes.
And he uses this, again, we don't know everything yet, so we're just speculating. Right. So he uses his cane and his little tattoo on his arm and the power of the goddess Ammit to judge if people are good or bad. And he's even judging them ahead of potentially committing a crime.
Which I thought was very Minority Report.
Yes.
When that was happening, I was like, whoa, this is Minority Report.
Very Minority Report.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Ethan Hawke's character? It's clear that he will be the main sort of villain throughout the next 5 episodes. I'm sure there'll be some backstory there too with Khonshu.
I mean, first of all, the opening scene with him putting his sandals on and the broken glass in there, it just instantly,
ouch.
I mean, ow. Yep. But also, I don't know if you're privy to this, but I don't know. I just got this kind of vibe from it instantly with him doing that broken glass in his sandals. First of all, right off the hop, darker tone. without being over the top, it was still like kind of creepy and you're like, ugh. But it actually gave me a bit of like a flash of when Paul Bettany was in the Da Vinci Code. He plays this kind of twisted, ultra religious character, this extremist religious character where he actually punishes himself by like whipping himself.
Yes.
And it was giving me that kind of vibe where it's kind of like, wow, that's a dark take to be like, it's a form of like self-sacrifice. So again, this all kind of interconnects with this obviously
when he's
very
in the
violent
village
God.
and he asks for a volunteer, the person steps up and he's like, "You're brave, volunteering yourself and your life." Yeah. Right. So I'm really intrigued to see where that goes as well. So all in all, like I thought this was a phenomenal first episode.
Yeah. I actually really liked that there was, because I just think in like modern day, not even modern day, it's kind of always been this way, but in comic book movies or comic books in general, it's always that, you know, the superhero is usually the one that's a little bit more understated, and it's the villain that tends to like chew the scenery a little bit.
That was not the case here.
I loved that it was the other way around. I love that Ethan Hawke was doing this very, I've talked about Ethan Hawke a million times on this podcast, but he does this like beautiful, understated, creepy, subtle, evil performance in this already. I'm sure there'll be in some elevated moments, but to just kind of lay that groundwork, because Oscar Isaac is already kind of, you know, having to go through these motions of like this Jason Bourne moment where he's just waking up and like his fists are bloody and he's having these battle moments and these voices in his head. I feel like it would have been too much to have an Ethan Hawke or whoever play this character and have it be at that elevated level as well. You just kind of come out of it being like, oh my God, this is a little much. And I just thought it grounded the whole thing.
Yes.
And made it so believable. And I love that he has all this like network of people working for him, even at the museum.
Yes.
That Mock knows.
Why did you just call me Mock?
Dude, he's great in this.
He's fantastic. His range.
We all love
is,
Oscar Isaac, but like he's
outstanding.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far, and I'm really genuinely excited to see where the rest of it goes. I love that we're talking about it.
Well, we will be back next week to review episode 2. In the meantime, Brad.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, actually, the three of us sat down and we went through the 2022 calendar of movies that were to be released. I don't know if I want to necessarily, not that it's our fault, but we did discuss quite a few movies in there that have been moved to 2023 now, looking at you, DC and Warner Brothers. However, one movie that all of us agreed was at or near the top of our list was Top Gun Maverick. Oh, baby. There it is. There it is.
I will not be talking about this without
there
these
it
on.
is. Perfect. So can I give you my take? First of all, this trailer, I just smile like a complete idiot when I watch it for 3 minutes or however long it is. But can I just give you my take, like a prediction of this movie as a whole? Mm-hmm. Will this be the best movie any of us have ever seen in our life?
Yes.
No. No. There is some dialogue in this trailer that's a little too on the nose. Like there's some on the nose dialogue in this trailer. However, like I am just so goddamn happy to see Pete Mitchell, aka Maverick, once again.
Let's go.
Just, you know what? Like, will there be some cheesy moments in this? Absolutely.
But that's what I was about to say. Like,
who
but that's
cares?
What, like,
who
cares?
Who cares?
I could give a you know what, because listen, at the end of the day, that's what Top Gun is.
Yes,
that's what Top Gun was when it originally came out. Yeah. That's what I would want it to be now. There's going to be, I think I can't actually see as well with these on, so I'm going to take them off. I was like, I can't actually do this. But the thing for me is that the feeling was there.
Yes.
Like I actually was shocked by how well they've been able to recapture it. But at the same time, bring it into 2021 and elevate the level of,
Brad.
or excuse me, 2022. you know what? Nobody's going to blame me for thinking it's 2021. Do you know how messed up the last 2 years have been?
That's true.
But no, the fact that they, like I said, captured the feeling, but they're also updating this modern day dog fighting and the modern day technology and just the capability of.
Oh my God. The dog fighting in this movie is going to be out of this world. It's going to be so good.
I will not accept that you and Kelly don't go see this on an IMAX screen. I won't do the review.
Oh no, I'm good. Well, Kelly for sure. I'm the one who lives in a place where I have to drive a little bit to see it in IMAX. However,
get in your car.
I will get in my car and I will drive to my local IMAX.
There is no way that this is not an IMAX movie to see. Given that what we know with what Tom Cruise laid out with Paramount, saying that there were points and there were things that were negotiated as far as what they're going to be capable or what he wanted to do and what he would not be willing to do as far as the making of this movie went. And one of those things was he was getting in a jet. The rest of the cast needed to be in the jets and they needed to be able to rig all this camera work to the jets and be able to film real dogfighting in real time with them and be able to capture all of that. And I'm not 100%, but I'm actually pretty sure they did do it with IMAX cameras as well. There's no way anybody, if you can help it, shouldn't be seeing this on an IMAX screen.
100%. Yes. Just
do not wait and see this at home. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. There's no you're gonna feel like you're in the movie.
I think this movie is gonna do so well at the box office. I think once they start rolling out TV spots for this and you start seeing the general population who isn't on YouTube and who love the original one are gonna see the trailers for this and be like, oh my God, we gotta go see that. 100%. 100%.
Anyone's dad that's out there is just flipping out. I sent the trailer to my dad and he was like, wow.
Yeah, 100%.
I was like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, we're going to see that.
We did get some minor plot details in this. It starts off at the beginning with all the pilots, the new age pilots sort of convening. Miles Teller looking very goose.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, we're the best in the world. Who's going to teach us? And it's like, oh, I know who's going to teach you. And then we get John Hamm.
Let's go.
John Hamm, whose character clearly is not a fan of Tom Kazansky, Iceman, appointing Maverick to come in and teach these pilots. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I
thought that was a beautiful little moment, by the way. Yes. That's a nice little.
It's interesting that they're going to go that route with John Hamm's character, where he's going to be like, I don't like you. I don't like that you're here. I don't like that
I'm actually not surprised by that. I feel like that's what John Hamm is good at playing. And I don't mean that as a slight. I just feel like he fits that kind of, the dude. He's kind of like the cock of the walk, but he's also he garners a level of respect and authority in a lot of roles. I think of him in The Town, where he was kind of the cop and trying to catch Ben Affleck. He has that sort of gravitas to the way he acts that I really actually like him in that role. Yes. I like that because I think it would be easy to get maybe a little bit lost with this movie and make it just about the dogfighting and just making it about an ego stroking thing for, everybody, nostalgia porn and seeing Tom back and everything else. I think you need that kind of Iceman and Maverick butting heads kind of characters dynamic. Yes. And I think you're going to get that with him and John Hamm, which I think is great.
We also got a little tease of where it's going when we see, Glenn Powell's character, who call sign Hangman, we learned in this is they're kind of sitting in a classroom and he's like, we're going into combat that no one's ever been in before, not even him. So it's they're actually going to it's not just going to be a movie about training. They're going to be going into battle of some kind.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's kind of without, and I actually like that. I like the fact that it's not kind of we brought back the Top Gun program and blah, blah. It's kind of okay,
we need human pilots.
We need human pilots. And this dude is the best of the best.
Yes.
And I like the fact that they're kind of manipulating it so that it's kind of where Top Gun was about like finding the best of the best and seeing like testing the best of the best, where this is more like we need to go back to basics. So they're still kind of doing this training and dogfighting and whatever, like they were doing in Top Gun, but in a different way. It's like he's coming back in to the fold to show them how to do it. Yes. I thought it was actually an interesting take on it, because I quite honestly, I would have been happy if they were like, we're bringing back the program, like I just said.
Dude, I would be so happy if it's like 2 hours of flying around in a F-18 or whatever it is.
I don't know what they are anymore. It's probably some cool new thing we're not even privy to.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think they've even just down to seeing like it flashes really quick, but you see Miles Teller on the beach, shirt off, and they're clearly playing volleyball or football on the beach or something. And I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
they're just like, they're good. There's going to be those nostalgic pulls, of course. Like why even bother if you're not going to do some of these little things? But it seems modern. I think that's my biggest take from it. Because some of these other ones where it's, the sequel's like 30 years later and you're kind of going like, all right, like, well, I mean, it's fun to watch. I'm not going to say I don't like.
Let's be honest. Part of the reason why this works so well is because Tom Cruise literally looks only like 10 years older than he did.
He looks the same.
Yeah, he does. He
looks wild. The same.
You see him like, yeah, it's wild.
But I'll also say this. I'll also say this. For all the great movies that have come out in the last, like, say, decade or 2 decades or whatever, while CG has been growing and growing and growing and getting better and better and better and more realistic, I will always, always, always tip my cap to Tom Cruise for being the guy who goes like, we can do that practically.
Yes.
We should be able to do this practically.
And being like,
and I want to do it. Which is sick.
Like this movie doesn't work if the actors are not in the cockpit of the plane.
It just adds this level of like, everybody wants to say the studios, these people, those people, everybody and their aunt, they want to say like, well, you could just CGI it. And it's like, you can, and we'll buy it, obviously. I mean, whatever the budget may be, but in certain movies, but for the most part, I think we're at a general level now where you'll buy it.
Yep.
But as soon as you see that real thing, you know when it's real, you know when it's practical, and you just instantly go, oh man, yeah, that's real movie making. That's real movie making. This isn't in like a comfortable studio. This isn't a big green screen. They're actually in there. And you also know that levels up performance. Just the fact that you see Tom Cruise take off the deck and you see the boom like this, and you see his head
so good.
It's
and
just
you
like,
see him
wow.
like
you
bring
see his face.
Bring his like little shield down.
Yeah, but you actually see the G's. The G's are pulling his face down when they're going, and you're like, you can't fake that stuff in the studio.
No, you can't.
I love that. I love that they're going practical.
Before we move on from this, I just wanted to hit, the Top Gun score is something that is so perfect that like, don't mess with it. Yeah. However, this like Hans Zimmer operatic version in this trailer is so good. It's very subtle. Like it's not like the other 2 trailers. They're like punching you in the face with that like classic Top Gun theme. And this one, it's like kind of mixed in and like it peaks and valleys a little bit. And oh my God, when I saw the 2 magic words Hans Zimmer attached to this movie, I was like, oh okay, he's our modern day, and not to take away from John Williams, but he is our modern day John Williams, where like everyone is just like, this guy knows what he's doing. Pay him what he needs, let him come in, because he just understands tone. He understands tone and when to level up and when to give it its breaks, and just to give you a little taste. And also allow that open space for just like the real world sound. I'm about to hit you with a truth bomb, though, that only exists in the Top Gun world.
Okay.
Everything that we just said is true. Hans Zimmer is like the modern day John Williams. He's the most high profile movie scorer on earth. However, this is the only project where I will be disappointed if his name is second from the top of the bill, because the top of the bill has to be Kenny Loggins.
Exactly where you were going. Kenny Loggins, everyone.
And if Kenny Loggins' name is not anywhere to be found on the soundtrack, I'm going to be disappointed.
You know they're going to bust it out when Tom Cruise jumps on that motorcycle of his, which is just also become synonymous with film and Tom Cruise. Like if he's not on a two-wheeled machine of some description, not and really a Tom Cruise
always on like
movie.
A ninja, always on like a forward, like he's never like
he like doesn't have he's not on a chopper, man. He needs to be on a streamline.
Yeah.
He's got a need.
Need for speed.
Let's go.
Perfect. So stoked.
Let's go. Right.
Before we get out of here, we should mention the really sad news that came out today about Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Just after you take it away.
Yeah, I mean, it was this literally happened maybe just a few hours before we were jumping on here, so it didn't feel right to not at least give a little tip of the cap to Bruce Willis. He's synonymous with film, and that's what we do here. We talk about film. We talk about big blockbuster movies and action movies and things of that nature, things that get people's butts in their seats and whatever. And it's a sad day. It's a really sad day to know that he's had to officially announce his retirement at a relatively young age, and we have heard that he's been diagnosed with aphasia, which is don't crush us in the comments if I'm somewhat messing this up, but it does have to do with his ability to speak and his ability to understand speech. It's a cognitive, and which is absolutely devastating to an actor, and his family has said as much, to say that his acting career has obviously, it's not just a job for him. Nobody goes into an acting career if it's just a job. There's lots of just jobs you can do. This is you do it with your heart, you do it with your passion and everything else. So to know that he's not going to be able to do that is highly upsetting. And we here at Talk and Pop, wish him the absolute best. And I know everybody around him is probably thinking the same thing, that he's going to be well taken care of, and he's always going to have a place in Hollywood and everything else. And the best way that we were discussing, and the way to talk about him is to just kind of have a brief discussion just on like some of the movies that he's done over the years that kind of to mean something to us, that have kind of hit us. And Rob, I'll just preface this, has told me ahead of time that there is his Bruce Willis movie pick that I wouldn't be prepared for.
Well, hold on. Okay. If you're going to talk Bruce Willis movies, it begins and ends with Die Hard. So let's get out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. Like Die Hard is the quintessential. You think of the Die Hard movies when you think of Bruce Willis.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, like period, end of discussion. Yeah. But I got to be honest with you. I have always had a special place in my heart for Sin City.
Oh, I do. Yeah. That's a great movie.
Love Sin City, and I love his character in Sin City.
He's fantastic in that.
It's
Mickey
so
Rourke
weird.
too, actually, not to get off topic, but
it's so weird that I love that movie, because it's typically not like the type of movie that I would normally like. Like it looks like a movie that would be directed by Zack Snyder, even though it's directed by Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez.
It's very stylistic.
But it looks like a Zack Snyder movie, and we all know, if you've listened to this podcast, how I feel about Zack Snyder movies. But
what?
But I love that movie. I love I love that it literally feels like you're watching a graphic novel come to life. It's so awesome, and I love Bruce Willis in it, and I think it's fantastic.
No, that's a great pick. I actually absolutely love that movie too. Mine, because again, beyond Die Hard, my pick easily, and I didn't even have to look it up. There's like a million, titles, and everybody's got theirs. And actually, you know what? Down below, comment what your favorite Bruce Willis movie is of all time. We'd love to hear it.
Yes.
Mine, it was a toss-up, actually. It was a toss-up, and both were M. Night Shyamalan movies. But I had to go with Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense.
Yes.
Sixth Sense ruined me when I was like 12. That movie messed me up. But it was also one of those movies, because it had such a big impact on me at that age. Like, movies that like scare you when you're young, that you always kind of have this like affinity for. So like I have this like wide affinity for that movie. And when I've gone back in over the years and rewatched or whatever, that is a wildly underrated performance that he gave in that movie. I actually think he was so good in that. And where everybody, especially in, the 90s, I guess it was, I think it came out in 97, 98, somewhere in that range. Bruce Willis was known as like the big action star.
1999.
I was close. The fact that he went a different direction in a still pretty big blockbuster type movie with an unknown director, let me add, at that point, at least, the fact that he gave such a brilliant, again, subtle performance while being scary, while being, you just you believed him throughout that whole movie, whether it was him when he gets shot at the beginning, spoiler alert, I guess. And then you find out later that he has actually been dead the whole time. Anyways, there's just a level of performance that he gives throughout that movie. And then I actually think he doubled down on that type of performance that he gave in Unbreakable, which was also an M. Night Shyamalan movie. And anyways, I think it's such a sad day for Hollywood, for film. And, like I said, we're big film lovers here, and it would be wrong for us to not give him a giant salute and say thank you for the film memories, and you're not forgotten. And I hope he's able to be comfortable in his struggle right now, and be able to have that sort of support system around him, and know that there's lots of people like us that will always love him for his what he's contributed to movies.
Well, I couldn't have said it any better myself. And with that, I think we're going to get out of here for this week. We will be back next week, Brad. I feel like next week is going to be a roller coaster of more emotions, because not only are we going to be reviewing Moon Knight Episode 2, we are also going to be reviewing Morbius, starring Jared Leto. And we don't need to go into a preamble. Anyone who's watching us has seen the early reviews for this movie, and anyone who's watching this knows what the post-credit scene is, because Sony told us what the post-credit scene is, because they were like, please go see this movie. So next week, 2-part review, a 2-pack.
Yeah, one is going to be probably a little bit different than the other. Yeah.
We're going to start on a high with Moon Knight Episode 2, and then we're just going to see where it takes us with the Morbius review. So if you don't want to miss that, hit that like and subscribe button below. Brad, you got to let me get the plug out before you
I'm sorry. Yes. I feel like I'm jacked up about this now. Maybe we should start with the negative and go into the positive. I don't know. We'll decide. You're going to have to watch to find out. Let's leave it at that.
I'll be honest. I feel like more people will want to listen to us talk about Moon Knight than will want to listen to us talk about Morbius.
Yeah. There's not going to be a lot of people that are shocked by, I'm sure, what we're going to say about it. But listen, come check us out.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe. Listen to all the podcasts you can, wherever you do it.
Yeah.
Come check us out.
Leave a review too. Please, yes, leave a review. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever, the audio version, just leave a little review. It helps. It really helps a lot. And we really appreciate it.
Come on.
Thanks everybody for checking us out. We'll see you next week.
Bye everybody.